two of the aspiring big guns of the competition.
And Lobie in the middle against Ryder. Paddy Ryder gets a bounce that really favours him. Nice one to get first up, isn't it? Thomas always works hard in the midfield to Roden. From centre half forward. That is great control and poise by Roden to Schultz.
That was nice work by Matty Thomas, who you'd expect will have a job on Jobe Watson. And I just look at this forward line, BT. You've got the kid Butcher, Schultz, Westhoff's on the boundary line. Now, Westhoff is way too good a player to be playing on the boundary line, even given this era's use of rotations, but that was just way too easy coming out of the middle.
Yeah, and they can score that forward line you spoke of. Here is Schultz. He's normally a very, very effective kick. And look at this. This is a sign they're on. Look at them come from everywhere.
Yeah, just got a funny feeling the Bombers are in for a bit of a tough go today, particularly early in the piece. Look, that's just a sloppy piece of work by the Bombers. They had it, no pressure there. Slip tackle from the captain, another one, poor one from Ryder. I mean, just a couple of little signs early in the piece, Jono. I don't think you'd want to have your big money on the Bombers at the present time at whatever the points are. I think about 70 or so.
Wouldn't worry James Hird one little bit today. If today's game is as competitive and goes down to the wire, that's probably the sort of game he's looking for as coach leading into the final.
He'd be pretty worried about 3 missed tackles in the opening minute, though.
I tell you what, Jono, you're not one for buying it at the moment. I'm going to come back and ask you in 15 minutes whether you buy what Port Adelaide are showing at the moment. Look at it. The hands in there, the quickness, the toughness, the energy that they're showing is fantastic. Inside 50 they go again, and Schultz is within range.
It's just a key issue for this club going into next year, whether Schultz and Butcher can manufacture a good combination. I mean, you need a couple of tools, not just one firing at the expense of the other. It's always difficult, BT. Schultz probably is more a full forward than a centre half.
Here's a prolific kick of the ball, so the distance from just outside 50 shouldn't be too much of a problem for Jay Schultz. Gets a bit of leverage on the ball, a good-looking kick, a little bit to the right-hand side. Takes a slight bit of wind out of their sail. But they are ready to play, Port. They've won the last 6 games against the Bombers. Remarkable when you consider it. McVeigh, hammering ball, intercepted by O'Shea. They're on again here, Port. An opportunity for them, big time. Cassisi's involved. Kick around the corner from the skipper, gets it to the line. Off hands.
Well, big opportunity missed there by young O'Shea. He had the ball in his hands. Or did he try to punch it, Johnny?
Let's have a look here. Oh, no, that's Thomas coming through, getting the handball to Cassisi, who has a shot at goal. Look, I think he did try to pat it down. I think he thought a bit of pressure was behind him as well from Essendon.
Heppel got the kick in duties and sees a target that he likes in the way of Howlett.
Interesting, Kingy. They're going man-on-man at kick-outs, not a zone defence.
Man-on-man, lot of space out the back if they can get through here quickly, which they can't. Port are on here, boys. Defensively, they are rounding off and communicating quite well.
Remus to Carlisle. Gee, I love his commitment at the ball. Carlisle is another one out of the factory. Calder Cannons, of course. Here is another one. Trengove. Carlisle went at it. They're in. Melcham's hurt himself in the Carlisle bump, and Carlisle has a bit of a chat to him as he walks past.
Well, as he should, and you mentioned it, 14 disposals to 3 so far in this game.
She is on here. Ryder. Stanton. Melcham's recovered. Have a look at this clash again, the Melcham clash. Head over the ball. Carlisle there as well, and collision of shoulders in the end. Hill doing the ruck work with Lobie. A hold there. I think it might go Hill's way.
I'll be interested in your thoughts.
Interchange infringement here against Port Adelaide. Let's listen. Hang on.
It's going the other way, umpires.
It's against Port Adelaide, boys. It's against Ebert.
No, hang on, just...
It's an Essendon free kick.
But he initially said against Port Adelaide, got it wrong. So you almost think it should be withdrawn. So it is against Port Adelaide. They're on the bench saying, we've got the 3 on the bench here. Matty Primus is asking the question of the coaches down at ground level, what's going on? The interchange steward currently pointing out to them what they did wrong. And in the meantime, Hill has a shot for goal. David Hill, only about 30 metres out. Kick on the way, magnificently measured by Hill.
Well, that's a real blow to Port Adelaide, to say the least. Talk about robbing you of some momentum. That is just horrible stuff. Didn't happen when Matty Primus was on the bench, Kingy. You can take full responsibility for that one.
There it is. Didn't go through the gate.
That is sloppy stuff. Fair dinkum.
Was it Jay Schultz or Thomas that come off?
I think
Have
it
a
was
look at this now.
Thomas.
The bottom of the picture. Watch this. Port player running to the boundary now. Here he comes. He goes around the back of the line. So the umpires and interchange steward proven correct there. Thomas did not enter the interchange area as he should. Result, goal to the Bombers. And all of a sudden, some wind taken out of the sail of Port Adelaide. Heppel in the middle. Got it forward, but...
Good forward pressure, though, by Port Adelaide. Forced Heppel, who's usually excellent with his feet, to turn it over.
Great kick from O'Shea to Westhoff. Westhoff just sees Motlop out the corner of his eye.
Just about snagger from there.
Motlop goes the low ball, trying to draw Schultz to the action zone. Schultz in the end, gobbled up Heppel. Looks a composed performer, doesn't he, for a first-year player. Carlisle went in, but equal to the task was Lobie.
Well, Heppel will be looking for a big game. Last opportunity to get votes for the rising star.
Let's have another look at this interchange infringement. There it is there. Didn't enter the interchange gates in the front door, so to speak. Went the side door. And a good pickup. McVeigh goes long and deep. Plenty around. Trengove gave it off there to Jonas. And out of trouble momentarily here, but it's at the moment the Bombers who are under pressure. Westhoff, the intended target, knocked down and run out of defence now. Myers involved initially, and a bit of a hawking handball over the top wasn't really great from Hooker on that occasion. And now the ball very much in dispute at the right end for Port.
Geez, I was impressed watching David Hill just running into the fence to support his back half. He looks really fit and fresh, and he'll be desperate to get a hold of some finals footy in 2 weeks' time.
Playing the game in their half at the moment, David King. Port Adelaide, what do you make of their start, David?
Well, I think they're full of passion. There's no doubt about that. Their intensity is right up. They've had 5 of the first 6 inside 50s. The only inside 50 Essendon have had is courtesy of an interchange infringement. So their intensity exactly where the coaches asked for.
Yep, we heard about this before the game. In fact, it was on the Port Adelaide website that the first 15 or 20 minutes. You should do that every game. But here they are, really scrapping it out at the moment. This is where it gets hard for them. Westhoff, off hands, almost had it on that occasion. Did Ebert, kick around the corner, there's another one. They're doing it nicely, Cassisi.
Well, they are doing it very nicely at the moment. 6 inside 50s to 1. And as Kingy said, it really is just about energy at the moment. And it's been what they've been able to bring so far in this game. So, and that's all it takes. It's a matter of maintaining this for 4 quarters. We all know that's the challenge.
He's starting to jump on board, BT.
Bring it early, and we see how things unfold.
Wow, what a start here with Port. Brad Johnson starting to jump aboard the Port bandwagon now, asking can they maintain it? Well, Jono, I'm here to tell you, normally they don't do this, so it's not about maintaining it, it's about doing it.
Nice work there by Hill, just totally dominated Westhoff. He's just got to make it a neutral ball.
Not a believer is Brad Johnson. We're going to see if we can sort through that, Jono. Surgeon. Off hands, Port. Harassed. This is only the second inside 50 entry for the Bombers. Off hands, Carlisle is very impressive. Got to Monfries. He backs out, back to Carlisle. Centering ball, Chaplin's got to go, and he did.
He did well, Chaplin. He read it particularly sweetly, and he got there. I think it was an Essendon shot at goal had he not released from his own man and made the contest. Thomas doing a really hard tag on Watson.
Roden trying to sidestep his way through some traffic there. Hurley not allowing that.
Tea's had a real interesting juncture in his career, Jono, is at a Paddy Carlisle. I think he can be a brute. I think he's got to get fitter. But I think we're still seeing only about 60% of the player that he can become.
Well, there's a lot of talk around town about whether or not he'll stay with Port Adelaide, and if he does back himself in to do that, you're right. That's the #1 area he needs to build on, and that's his endurance around play.
There he is, game 90 for Paddy Carlisle.
Doesn't look fit to me. Doesn't look like rock hard fit like he could be.
On defence, Gray. Roden getting involved early. That kick's got to be perfection, and it's not. McVeigh around the corner. The pressure was good.
Great pressure from the butcher.
Banner goes down the line. Ebert over the top. Hooker setting up, unfortunately. Hooker to the middle. To Hill, put his leg out to protect the oncoming Schultz. Look at the desperation from Jay Schultz. That is magnificent play from Schultz.
That's great play. That really is. It's great desperation from your key forward, setting the example as a leader.
Look at Motlop out the corner. That's the direction he goes. He draws Motlop to the ball. That was fantastic. Motlop didn't want to give the lead away by power surging, and instead Schultz just put it into the spot. Really impressive play by both Motlop, the leader, not to give his position away, and the kicker Schultz to place it in the open space. Motlop using his full 30 to recover. Umpire says that's 20 there. Got 10 seconds to start your run up. Motlop does that now from the boundary line and just to the near side.
Jared, I think they need to look at the Jay Schultz matchup. He's away to a flyer. He's had a quiet month, 3 goals in 3 weeks, and only 4 marks inside 50 prior to today. But he is surging and looks like taking this game away from the Bombers at the moment.
Well, there's one bloke missing from that back half that hasn't been missing for a long time over a sustained period of time, and that's Dustin Fletcher. I mean, a lot of these young kids have always played with the full knowledge that Mr. Fix-It's there to mop up.
To bail them out. Yep. Well, the Bombers now forced to just share the ball around at half-back, which is exactly playing into the hands of the modern-day press of any teams. It means they get a chance to apply pressure.
Nice kick.
Yep, to Howlett. Handball off to the run here of Zaharakis. Early, strong, aggressive lead. Couldn't get the Dukes on it. And now Port, again, strip it away. Schultz. Got a running Ebert over the top. A little bit too much power in the ball. Heppel will get there to cut it off. 3-on-1 in the end. It was a poor kick. Gee, that's an iffy handball by Tate Pears. He got it back after some good work from Heppel. And Jake Carlisle, I like this guy. I reckon he can become a really good centre-half forward, centre-half back.
He's got great hands, already been compared to the great Van der Haar.
I like him in his looks to Dermot Brereton. Skinny, lean,
Yeah,
a little bit cheeky, can run, can get on his bike. I think he's a sign of very good things to come, Jake Carlisle. Hurley. Over the top, Ryder, right down. Jetta, bounce, 50, 45, 40. Goes back inboard to Heppel. That is superb control.
Well, from one into the ground when Carlisle took the mark all the way through. Nice knock over the top from, I think it was Paddy Ryder. And then terrific vision inside. I mean, that's just quality team play. There's Jackson. Nice little tap over and a good look inside. That's just unselfish play, Jono.
That's great play. Great work rate by Heppel. He followed the play down through the middle of the ground.
21 goals for the year. Heppel comes in, looked a little sluggish on it. He's got it. The barrel-chested goal umpire says it's a goal.
Well, it goes back to Paddy Ryder. Logan had a chance to spoil it out for Port Adelaide, missed it. Paddy Ryder with a fantastic tap on to Jetta, and he used his speed to get in front of the contest. Looked like he was going to be able to take it all the way in here, but unselfish, looking inside the whole time, and a great passage of play by the Bombers. First time they've looked likely in the first 10 minutes of this game.
Two goals apiece, Port by 3 points. And there is Dustin Fletcher, who missed out today. Adrian Dodoro sitting in the suit just on the left-hand side.
It's a double whammy, though, for Dyson Heppel, because he's got his goal on Robbie Gray, who's a significant forward for Port Adelaide.
There's Davey. Trying to get those plucky little legs wound up. Ball was pinned there. He made no attempt, said the umpire.
No, it was a good decision from the umpire, because he did have the ball free initially, and he elected just to take the tackle.
Carlisle at the back. Good grab.
And that's a combination of what we were talking about, BT. This kid has got some of the best sticky hands that we've seen for a long time. And Adelaide Carlisle, he's just got to be better than that. I mean, he has got so much strength and he's not utilising it. That ball should have come to ground. He should have been able to back and just push him out of the contest legally.
Watch this kid, Jono. Jake Carlisle. Big things to come from this man.
You've compared him to Dermy, so I'll be keeping a close eye on him.
Just keep a very close eye. In he comes. Bombers get their third.
Well, Bombers, 2 quick goals, and now it is really that's the challenge now is thrown down to Port Adelaide. We see here Davey with a very good tackle in the end, gets a free kick for holding the ball, and immediately turns to get it inside 50 with a deep ball. Chaplin v Carlisle, and that's the difference at the moment. Chaplin's usually the one coming in third man. He's going one-on-one with his direct opponent at the moment.
Jake Carlisle kicks the goal. He's 6th of the year. Just starting to break them down a little bit now, David King, the Bombers.
Just worried, Brian. The 15 minutes has just ticked over and the Bombers have kicked the last 2 in a hurry. Maybe Matty Promise should have asked for 20 minutes.
Wasn't at a Paddy. He's got me with a haircut, Troy Chaplin. They've both gone with the number 1.
Yeah, they're very similar, those two, Jetta. Free kick Lobe in the middle here. Look at the players scurry forward of the ball, such as the modern footy. Salopek with the handball. Kick goes down towards Ebert. That occasion from Boak. Opportunity for the Bombers. Love it. Murray here at centre-half back. Myers ran into a bit of trouble. Almost missed the ball. Motlop kept it alive. Good handball here. They're in trouble again, the Bombers. Some pressure coming from Butcher. Did it well to strip it off. McVeigh went and got it. Put his head over the hard one and won it to Melksham. Kick wasn't so good from Melksham.
Yeah, out on the full. You see Carlisle again, just in his 2nd year, 8 games. He's been one of the finds, though, Jono, of the Bombers' year.
He has been. There's been a number of younger players for the Bombers that have stood up this year.
Long ball. Ebert. 4 deep over the back. Couldn't quite get hold of it off hands. Ebert had a second crack. That's very impressive stuff. Melksham with the tackle on Westhoff.
Good tackle.
It was.
What I am liking, BT, is the Port Adelaide defenders aren't zoning any space. They're going direct with their direct opponents, so that if the ball does come out, they're not getting lost in transition. They know exactly where their opponent is, so they can at least compete one-on-one.
Kyle Hardingham there, the son of Toot from Cogen up in Western Australia. There's an opportunity with Roden. Got it out. Gray around the corner, has a good look, and it's got the legs as well. That's a nice goal from Robbie Gray.
Excellent forward pressure once again from Port Adelaide. They now think that they have got the wherewithal. This is just good tackle and good pressure. David Roden gets it out to Robbie Gray, who's one of the better shots at goal in the Port Adelaide lineup. And right now, BT, I reckon everybody in the black and red here at Etihad Stadium be thinking to themselves, where's the 10-goal lead gone?
Yep.
It's not going according to script.
Well, you mentioned forward pressure. Port Adelaide, 6 inside 50 tackles so far to Essendon's 1, and that's where they've been able to hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, the Bombers haven't had it inside their forward 50 to do the tackling that much. They've gone inside very few times and had great efficiency.
Lobe went straight at Ryder then, unfairly, and the free kick is spot on. Here is the Ryder kick. Gee, Remus didn't quite have the sticky hands he should have, and now Motlop's got a chance out wide. Sends it too wide for Westhoff.
Wasted opportunity, just a poor kick.
They do have significant dominance in the ruck here, though, the Bombers. And I think it'll be a matter of time before they got on top in the clearances, boys. It's 6-all at this stage, but Ryder giving them great service.
There's the two ruckmen, Lobe and Ryder. Front position for Lobe. Did well to work it down. He's trying to stop the run and jump of the athletic Roder. Here's Roden. Sold it magnificently, chiseled back, Schultz kept coming. He was the first option and the second option.
And we're just seeing a far more ballistic Port Adelaide, particularly in their forward half, than we've seen for the majority of the season. Everybody's up and about. They're working for each other. It's not me, me, me in there. It looks like it's team, team, team for the first time for a hell of a long time.
They look organised and ready to play. Schultz comes in, he nurtures the goal through, and there's the fourth in the opening term for Port.
Well, Schultz's start, 6 disposals already and 2 goals on the back of that. His best effort, though, was when he was able to turn the ball over in the middle of the ground through diving underneath his Essendon opponent. But you're right, they're just working for each other, and it goes back to the mindset of the Bombers. Are they a bit cautious in their approach today on the back of a finals appearance in 2 weeks?
I see.
They look rather bemused, the Essendon box. They're not unlike Jono. Lack of belief in the opposition team, and starting to come around to the way of thinking that the other team are actually okay, Jono.
They're okay. Don't worry about that. They're showing it today.
Well, now I understand how players disrespect the opposition sometimes, having a feel of Brad Johnson up here today. Off hands, Myers. And wide to McVeigh.
Never disrespected anyone, BT.
No.
Gutsy kick and a good kick.
The handball to Zaharakis.
Good pressure, though, coming back the other way.
Boat now. Heppel's got him as he made an attempt. That's what it'll boil down to.
Kingy, as a backman, I want you to keep your eye on Jackson Trengove. I've just never been convinced he's the answer as a key position back half. I reckon his best game was in a showdown as a run-with player, as a second division ruckman, if you like. Always saw him as a forward, but they are putting a lot of time into him as a defender.
They are, and he's going to have to go one-on-one with Hurley all day here. Not getting much assistance in terms of loose men or anything like that, boys, so that'll be fascinating, that drill.
Logan DeLobey was impressive. And there's the task ahead for Lobey. Goes with the standard. Ebert tried to elevate, just ran into the back of Hooker, and a free kick. In fact, the mark's been paid to Schultz in the end. He just judged it better than anyone else.
Smart forward play. Every now and then the ball gets over the back, and as a coach, you love one forward to be able to be in that position if the ball does fall there, and Schultz just worked there nicely.
What's he thinking here? Right foot banana, Jono? No.
Left foot hook.
Left foot around the corner to the near side.
If he had 10 shots left foot hook or 10 shots boomerang, what do you reckon he'd get the best results with?
He'd get the best result with the 10 boomerangs, I reckon.
I reckon you're right. He's probably had 25 years, 27 years of practicing boomerangs.
Yep.
And about 3 minutes practicing left hooks.
It is something that all players should know. Every player in their career is going to be confronted with that very task.
Yep.
And they should already have in their minds and practice what they're going to do. Can't believe the amount of senior players at this level that arrive in that situation and still haven't worked out what they're going to go with.
Make it up on the spot.
Yep. It is incredible. Jetta. From the wing. Hurley. Over the top, couldn't quite hold it. Jackson Trengove, Hill. Davey back inside, protects the drop of the ball. I'm not sure he saw it as it landed on his chest, but he's taken a nice mark.
Just a little example there of Jackson Trengove just losing his man, Michael Hurley, which just raises the question mark as to what's his best position. Got lots of talent, fantastic for Port Adelaide that he signed during the week. But I get the feeling he's a Lee Brown type for the Pies.
Elwyn Davey directly in front. A little left. And the barrel man there. Look at the chest on that goal umpire. Very, very expansive. And a miss to the Bombers. So Alapati Carlisle moves the ball back into play. High ball. Schultz is there. Hill. Floater.
Jeez, he's looking fit.
He looks in the corner. Here comes Carlisle. Can he body manoeuvre? He can. He did well to get a real good look at it then. Gray. Pursued by Zaharakis. Off hands Davey. Love it, Murray. 55 out. Great composure to Welsh.
Concussed last week. Joe Watson also concussed, just 2 possessions today.
Jetta. Or is it Zaharakis? It's the latter who's taken the mark. David Zaharakis, 35 out, not a lot of angle about it. Under 5 remaining.
That's the kick, Brian. That exiting kick outside the defensive 50 for Port that's got them in so much trouble this year. They need to either go very wide to the boundary or hit a short target.
David Zaharakis. Kick at goal is perfection, and the Bombers are responding.
Well, they needed to respond. There's one young, happy supporter. But it was starting to get a little bit worrying for the Bombers. Just get that lead getting out to a significant amount. If they'd have kicked the next one, all of a sudden Port Adelaide take a significant lead into quarter time. But he's been a very fine player as a young man on screen for them this year. And before play gets underway, just this one here, Jackson Trengo just loses his opponent completely. They're the sorts of little things he needs to address if he's going to make it as a centre-half back.
Back in the middle, Westhoff's been swung into the ruck for Port.
It's a good call, Jared, because that exact play there, he needs to finish on the inside shoulder, the corridor shoulder to the key post forward, and he falls outside.
Yeah, really good point. Advantage paid here as Roden and Boat scream away with the ball. Roden had to go back and get his own smothered handball. A hurried kick back inside to Schultz, who's working really desperately, I might add, up in the Port forward end, trying to arrive at every contest first. And it's something that has been missing consistently from his game for a long time. And if he continues to play like that, he will impress all. Westhoff. The back to O'Shea. Lots of Bombers. Davey through some traffic. Zaharakis went back for a second go at it. Davey said, I'll tidy it up. Stanton went half. Probably should have gone full. Welsh to Remus. Remus has got to work back into some oncoming Port mobs. Long handball to Carlisle. Carlisle in front with great composure. Well done, the Bombers.
Well done, Remus, as well. Great contest in the middle of the ground. Both sides going hard at it. Handballs were flying everywhere. Essendon were able to get the release. The handball went behind Remus, used his strength to push off his direct opponent, and a great release handball to Carlisle inside forward 50 with a very nice finish.
This bad tackle here, though, John. I mean,
That's the one.
Just young Tom Jonas, just not up to its senior level. He's got to get better at that. Cost him a goal.
Continue to admire this form of this man, Jake Carlisle, out of the Calder Cannons. Another one that Ian Kite and Marty Ellison have done wonders with down there, and he's a very energetic, athletic, slim build, the perfect modern build for a footballer. Boat to Roden. They tried this last time and messed it up, the two of them. This time they get it right, looking for Butcher down there. May have been held. Hooker. Hardingham turned in the Ebert tackle. And in the end, I think we'll have a ball up as we draw to the last 3 minutes of this first quarter.
John, I've liked Brett Ebert's energy up there in the forward line. He hasn't got the ball too often, just a handball. But, geez, he's applying some enormous pressure.
It's just all about competing, and all the forwards are doing that today.
Off hands around the corner again, and not quite on that occasion from Banner. So exactly 3 minutes left in the quarter. The Bombers have kicked the last two to lead it here by just 2. The ball dropped a little short in the air there. Had to make some late ground along with O'Shea. Thomas went hard when he thought others were going to come over the top. They didn't.
Well, Port Adelaide are going one-on-one. Essendon need to create that bunch style. At least give that a go on a kick out. Not spread to all parts of the ground. They'll then get the release in the quick overlap play to push forward.
Forward 50 stoppage here for Port. Motlop third man up. Ebert keeps it alive. The mark won't count. 15, said the umpire. Off hands Cassisi. Sucked out of mid-air by Watson. The mark's been paid to Monfries.
Now you're in form when your kicks out of the air.
Yep.
Hit targets.
Absolutely. There's Davey, Alapati Carlisle, just loves saying the name. Punches it to the boundary.
Just bizarre at the moment, boys. They do have hit-out dominance, 12-4 at this stage, yet the clearance is 12-7 in favour of Port Adelaide. You wonder what's happening at ground level.
Caught without a ruckman on that occasion in the interchange. Flurry were the Bombers. Humphreys to Watson.
I think what's happening, Kingy, is that Port Adelaide are just going a little bit harder. Just a little bit harder than the Bombers at the moment. If you look at the inside 50 efficiency, it's that's what's keeping the Bombers pretty competitive at the moment. There's 9 scoring shots to 6. Port Adelaide have had the ball in their forward half a fair bit more than the Bombers.
And they've been able to restrict the early influence of Jobe Watson with only 3 disposals so far in this quarter.
Well, there's always going to be a punt, Jobe Watson, given that he was badly cussed last week. It's a big trip back from Perth. He's had a big ground. Plenty of heat last week.
No excuses, Jared. You're out there.
Understand that, but
he does look lethargic, doesn't he? Heppel.
He's about 6 possessions down on his average at the moment.
What's happened to you lately, Jono? You're showing not a lot of compassion for players these days, and
very harsh in his first year.
A real edge to you at the moment. Brutal. Opportunity, Stanton. Salopek. Monfries, Thomas. That's a throw. Roden got away with it though, Thomas.
Much more disciplined play by Port Adelaide. Normally Roden would have taken the pot shot and gone to Butcher, but he elected to come back to the boundary side and play more efficient and risk-free football.
Matty Primus on the boundary, you can see. Down there, off hands. See the artificial turf where it meets the turf. There's Matty Primus. Down on the deck as we to the closing half minute of this quarter. Yeah, quarter has gone 32 minutes. Long opening quarter when you consider we have had collectively 9 goals kicked in it. 5 to the Bombers and 4 to Port.
Well, this gives them a really big opportunity. There'll just be one more contest. Then a bit of Roden magic.
Nice man up here, the Bombers. The Ryder won the tap conclusively. Went and got it both. Schultz almost had a bit of a look at it. They closed him down. Not a lot of space in there to operate. Timely boot by Motlop. And that one's out from Butcher.
It's clever by Motlop. Keep the ball alive. Seen his teammate just outside the pack.
Players are switched on. You can see them talking furiously to the coach there, and there is the end of the quarter. An interesting quarter of football. Port are alive, make no mistake. They showed plenty. 4-5-29, the Bombers lead it narrowly. 5-1-31.
They play 26 for the quarter. That's the area of the game they need. Their pressure side of things is what will keep them in this game today.
Some people asking via tweet why Matt Thomas is allowed back on the ground after that interchange infringement, not crossing through the gates. Why is he back allowed on? Well, the penalty is what it is, and that cancels that out, of course. And once you accept the penalty and that's awarded, then all bets back on. Monfries will kick back to McVeigh, who's worked hard. Roden didn't get a good bounce, did he? Roden now just strolls onto the ball like silk, and Gray has taken a nice mark.
Well, Roden's ability to impact the game, running the ball inside forward 50, has him in the best couple of players on the ground at the present time. He's really dangerous. He's had an up and down year, but just have a look at him here. He just bursts through. He doesn't blaze away. It was a very, very nice kick. Made good by a talented forward, Robbie Gray.
Yep, got the Jukes out in front, made sure the defender couldn't get near it, and this is the result. And I tell you, in that part of the ground, that segment of the ground, everything goes left to right. I know you're not a believer, Jared.
I'm starting to believe you, BT.
Just want you to have a close look. Don't make your mind up now. Come back to me in a couple of years. Hardingham.
It's a 5-year study then.
Yes.
Well, a good rebound opportunity here for the Bombers. I mean, that one from Robbie Gray, they are the killers that just suck you of energy and suck you of momentum.
Got the modern fringe as Monfries, the comb over. And the mark taken in the back half. Carlisle and Chaplin holding it up there. You can see the Bomber supporters on the fence there. They're a little quiet at the moment, just a bit of life sucked out of their sails because of the fight in Port Adelaide at the moment. McVeigh, beautiful handball to Howlett.
Dangerous kick.
It was in amongst three of them. Motlop.
It's charge of the Light Brigade here for Port.
Boak's going to work back, so is Gray, and Hooker's under enormous pressure. Did well to disguise the handball out of bounds then.
They're just getting beaten one-on-one here, the Bombers. Yep. There's no secret to this. There's no science to this. It's just every man for himself, one-on-one, win your own battles. And Port simply are too tough at the minute.
I think the other thing, Kingy, is that Essendon for so long, particularly under James Hird, have just had the luxury of having Dustin Fletcher start so many of their counter-attacks off half-back. They have to find the next Dustin Fletcher.
Concerned coaching box looking on there, shrugging the tackle Kasisi. Just good tackle by Joe Watson. Just couldn't quite get balanced, Kasisi. Watson looking for something up the corridor. No one came at him. Now this is going to be a real risky kick. McVeigh made the kick look better than it was. He was scruffed as he went to kick it. Got a hold of it, Ebert. Long ball. No tall targets there. Off hands, Kasisi to Gray. Gray over the top. Salopek needs a good bounce. Oh. Off the ground, they get the first.
Two fingers by Chesty, and in that little passage of play, you see the big difference between our ball and round balls, Jono, because Steve Salopek started as about a 3-to-1 chance, and he ended up the favourite. Have a look at the way the ball bounces to his advantage. Just a nice gift there by Kasisi. A shocking handball there from Robbie Gray, but then it does a U-turn to put Salopek in the front row.
Salopek kicks his first goal here in fine style. Immediately comes to the bench, gets there, and is told, "You're going back out there, mate.
Double the work.
No bench for you."
Where's this been the last 3 weeks, BT? That's the question. They come out today with the energy.
Yeah, well, Carlton, Hawthorn and the Dogs, it certainly wasn't there, Jono, as you mentioned.
I think Ian also asked the other question about the Bombers, where their energy is at the present time, as Kingy said, being beaten man on man at this stage.
That interchange steward needs to stand on the corner where that infringement happened and make the players go around him. Instead, when it happened, he was standing too far to the right-hand side.
Not sure it's the same interchange, man, but Port's had a forgettable year with the interchange. They've had a couple of moments.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it's not the same man. Spread the badness. We think it was, though. Pep around the corner. And Port resilient here at the moment, and the fans not liking what they're seeing from their mob. And this is good news for Port Adelaide supporters, because your side is having a real crack here. Schultz is let out, couldn't get that. Heppel. Davey needs a bounce, got it to sit nicely. Now Hooker. He was cool. Pears shows him a clean set of heels. Back to Hooker. And now some evasive talent in Stanton to just tidy things up to Hardingham.
Well, good forward pressure, except for Robbie Gray. I don't know why he was 10 metres off his man. He needed to maintain the rage.
That is a ripping kick from David Hill. It almost burnt a hole in the forehead of Welsh then. It hammered in on him, and I think it came a bit quicker than he thought it was coming.
It's good work there from Thomas.
Westhoff to Banner. Banner long and deep. Held his ground. Gray, but the umpire said hands in the back.
He had a release. Then over the top, Salopek would have been able to run inside forward 50.
Robbie Gray just needs to get with the rest of the team here at the moment. There's a chance of bringing some of the work undone. He needs to buy in. Free kick Ryder. Alwyn Davies long. He goes the shorter version to Reimers. Keeps his feet. Around the corner. Jeddah knocked away Kasisi. Got him high, said the umpire.
So just a couple of sloppy mistakes by Port Adelaide, giving Essendon a chance. And you just wonder, having a look around, Jono, with hands on hips with Port Adelaide, whether or not they're going to be able to sustain this two-way running.
Well, I said that a bit earlier, and you guys had a fair old crack at me.
Oh, Jono.
Defensive.
Jeddah. He's a bit barky. Look at this from Leroy Jeddah.
They're a young side, Port Adelaide. Not that Essendon are overly old, but they have had one of the gutsy pre-seasons, I reckon, Port Adelaide. I'm not sure what the free kick there was for. Was it just hands in the back, but it resulted in a failure of one goal at one end and a bonus for Essendon at the other.
Leroy Jeddah kicks the goal. Cassisi, who gave the free away, rather dubious one, takes a spell on the pine. Very busy places, the interchange areas these days. What are we averaging, Kingy? Still about 117 interchanges a game per team, aren't we?
Yeah, still pretty high, even though the reduction in available personnel. But I'm not sure the AFL have got what they wanted there.
No, I think they've got exactly what they wanted, and that was to put a cap on it.
Certainly stopped the continuing building, hasn't it, I guess? Heppel to Watson. Lovely kick to Davey, who probably should have been called back stronger by Reamers. I'm not sure he got that call. He now tries to make amends, Elwyn Davey. Welsh went where no other would. And Lobie just hovering over the top, taking his ample bit of space around this pack.
Do you want a bit more time to think about your answer there, Jared, regarding the interchange? Or
No, I just think it's one of those issues that, it stood out like a sore thumb that it was going to go to 160, 150, and the substitute rules had a lot of focus, and I think a lot of the good things have been ignored.
Give you the right to reply in a moment, David King, as we see that behind. Why do you say that, King?
Well, I just think that when we look at the numbers at the end of the year regarding soft tissue injuries in the course of this season, I think they'll be drastically up, and to the players that we genuinely think are bona fide midfielders. Well,
we'll get all that data at the end, and I'm sure the AFL will be looking very closely at both sides of that argument and trying to work out what is right. There's
but that is a
Collier.
different argument, by the way. We're talking about rotations and numbers. And the cap, I think, has been something that's keeping good players out on the ground longer.
Look at the Bombers run forward from that stoppage. Myers had to just go around Ebert, did it well. Hardingham, Monfries, Heppel, and in the end, Alapati Carlisle dropped a mark he probably should have taken and takes the feet from Jake Carlisle. He might get pinged here, Carlisle. Eventually the ball trickled out the back to Howlett. Not sure he disposed of it legally, by the way. But they are ferocious in there at the moment.
That's the one area that's picked up by the Bombers. We heard Simon Goodwin at quarter time saying they just need to get a bit hungrier around the contest. And they're doing it. Players are throwing themselves in head first to try and have an influence.
Just about every player lined up down the corridor in the middle here. It's a hold to Daniel Pearce. Gee, I haven't seen a lot of Pearce.
Numbers are down. Just 1-on-1.
Banner involved in that chain of handballs, and there is Daniel Pearce. Around the corner, Watson. Handball was partially intercepted. Thomas now dragged in an aggressive tackle by Howlett. And this time the Bombers playing this second quarter mainly at their end of the ground. So things just turning ever so slightly here. Motlop has been third man up about 3 times in this game so far. It's obviously one of his nominated roles today. Lobie high and round the corner, right where that interchange infringement took place in the first quarter against Port.
It just feels down here, boys, as if the Bombers have really lifted their intensity around the action. Their tackle rate's gone up. Their preparedness to run, both rewarded and unrewarded, has gone through the roof this quarter.
Zaharakis pursued, but not before he got the ball long and deep to Hurley. Gee, that's a good mark.
Geez, he stretched, didn't he?
Yep.
And the Bomber faith are pretty happy with what they saw. Hasn't had a major influence on the game just at the present time, Michael Hurley, but he may be about to.
It was the first time the Bombers as well have been able to get the ball on centre wing and play on directly from the mark.
Love the aggressiveness at which this guy plays. whether it's just marking in the air like that or whether it's presenting up in a strong fashion. Giving his kicking. And here comes Hurley. That's really nicely done from the young man, Michael Hurley.
Well, we look here at Hurley coming across. Big pack mark. Trengove was there. Couldn't do a lot more with that one there, especially in a lot better position than what you highlighted in that first quarter where he lost Hurley for that 1 or 2 metres and couldn't really affect the contest. Was right there, but Hurley was just too good on that occasion.
Michael Hurley, a prodigious talent. He's played the 17 games this year. Just the fitness issues, once he starts to get some consistency there, I can see him really blossoming if he hasn't already. Look at the jump by Ryder, magnificent. Watson's hands were equally as good. Bombers with some numbers out the back door. Zaharakis peels the handball to Stanton. Stanton a drawing handball to Hamlet over the top, and here go the Bombers. A very thoughtful ball back inside to Hurley. Just puts the Dukes out in front and nails the trapdoor shut.
It was a great kick. Set him up beautifully, and he just got in the starter's hands at 2 or 3 metres early. This time Trengove a couple of metres off the back, and the kick was so good that very few were going to stop it.
Well, Trengove's positioning was for the kick down the line. It was just a superb kick that caught him out.
Michael Hurley directly in front. Distance won't be a problem. Just inside the 50 here. Don't the crowd like it? Successive goals to Hurley and the Bombers.
Time now for Port Adelaide to find some footy back in the centre. They have not won clearances too well this quarter. We'll get some numbers from you in just a sec, Jono. But this is just too wide and unpressured, and defenders are at their mercy if the pressure up the ground isn't better.
Michael Hurley kicks his second goal. Bombers have kicked their third in a row.
It's even out of the middle, Jared, but it's where you look at the tackle stats so far for this quarter, 17-9 in the Bombers' favour. That's where they've been able to turn things around.
It's twice now Ryder's got up high and flicked it out the back.
A bit of pen chewing in the Port box. Good to see they've got the 4 colour pens working in there as well.
So if you chew a red, does that mean something different to if you chew a black?
Just when I see the red clicked in the 4 position pens, I go, Gerard, that's trouble for the player that's been penned. You can see there the old 4 position pen. I use those myself, and Jason Cripps there as well. Wonder whether they'll add to that coaching staff next year some more experience. Dean Laidley labelling his intentions, I think, to come back to Victoria, hasn't he? I think he's already
I think you're right. In fact, it seems to be almost done and dusted, along with perhaps Jason Cripps.
Yep. Melcham. Bounce back inside to Heppel. Heppel goes to Hurley. Got to be quick, and he was. Howlett now short to Jeddah. Now watch them come at Jeddah. He didn't give him a chance. He sent a long ball forward bound. Hill rises, couldn't man. Off hands. Little man Davey just rolls in. Sticks it underneath the goal umpire.
Been a good 10 minutes for the Bombers, starting to get their game running, and the lack of pressure from Port Adelaide is starting to tell. And if Dyson Heppel does win the NAB Rising Star, one of the reasons, and there are many, is because he just makes so many good decisions. He seems not to suffer from pressuritis. He just understands the game and executes with a lot of maturity.
Gee, David King, that all unfolded directly in front of you. The kick from Jeddah quickly inside 50 was great, wasn't it?
Outstanding, and I think that that's just come with their rhythm now. They've got their game going defensively, Brian. This quarter, 17 tackles to 10, and with that, has really made Port Adelaide struggle with their ball use, going at 40% at the moment by foot this term.
Well, at least Rodent was smart enough there to read the tap from Ryder. 3 in a row, went to the same spot.
Melcham with the clearance in the end. Trengove in front. Off hands, Hurley trying to muscle his way out of trouble there. Bit of an iffy handball from Jonas, wasn't it? Quick kick by Jeddah. Or Melksham it was. And a miss. So the Bombers just starting to get hold of this one. They've kicked 4 consecutive goals here in the second quarter. What can Port do?
Great mark. Looks a lot fitter than he has done for the last 18 months, Steve Salopek.
Just a fair bit of footy, hasn't he?
Well, he's a high draft pick that just hasn't blossomed the way everyone expected him to. He's had lots of injuries and a few form issues. There's a player there that's still got a lot of footy left in the tank.
Pearce, somehow through a heap of traffic, gains 40. Did all he could do then, Daniel Pearce. Pretty impressive. Motlop, also back in his outfit. You'd see the Port Adelaide players walking to that stoppage then. The Bombers are already there, ready to go, and they arrive late, Port Adelaide.
It may well by BT be one of the very basic elements is missing at Port Adelaide, and that is there's just not enough players rock hard, fit and prepared to run in pain.
Westhoff, his boat.
Because we saw how they played when they were not fatigued in the first quarter.
Yeah, they were impressive. Westhoff has taken, in fact, Butcher, a nice grab here. He'll be paid the mark. We'll have a close look at his kicking approach from the set shot.
We had a look before the game, BT, and he just drops it a little bit high, but
it's awkward, but did the job.
It did do the job.
He grips the ball high, the skinny part of the ball, and he nails the goal. Butcher.
Well, he still gets the job done pretty well for mine. I think you can pick some holes in his technique, and it's certainly not pure. Travis Bowe continues to work hard, and that's one of their problems. They've got a half a dozen really hard runners. I'm not sure they've got enough rotations to allow those guys to share the workload, but there's a lot to like about it, BT, other than a little bit of a problem with the foot drop. Sorry,
yeah,
the ball drop.
Pretty uncomplicated, Jared. A little stiff, but that's all. John Butcher getting his first goal today, the second in this quarter for Port, so giving something here at the moment. A little bit of a yelp. They get it back to a 15-point margin. Still plenty of time before the half, 8 minutes. Roden, so good in this area. The bounce, the kick is great. Schultz will kick the distance from here, Jay Schultz.
That's 4 today from Roden, exactly like that. Good short use, lowering the eyes, coming out of the middle of the ground.
He needs very little space to work in, David Roden, to hurt you.
Tell you what, if you're back and Roden gets the ball, you'll be pushing up on your player.
Jay Schultz, all about momentum here to get the journey from 50, and he did not strike that the way he hoped.
Well, that's 2 now, isn't it? It's that one there. It's Robbie Gray's a little bit earlier on the back of a Roden kick as well, where they could have just kept that scoreboard pressure really tight on the Bombers.
Take pairs into Carlisle. A little slow to get boot to ball there, and Schultz was able to effect the smother. Carlisle caught in the tackle by Pearce. Umpire said incorrect disposal. Pearce to Butcher, a little heavy for him, but he stands and marks. I think it was Hardingham who missed the spoil. There's the tackle, it's pretty perfect. And here's the mark from Butcher. Just arrived late, Hardingham. Butcher from the identical position to where he kicked the goal from a few moments ago. Comes in, and once again he gets it done. 2 in a row for Butcher and Port.
Well, they're not lying down, Jono.
No, they're not, Jared, and you can have a... People can talk about his technique, and you mentioned it before. He hasn't missed too many in the last 3 weeks. So, and this is the pleasing part about his game. The most noticeable part about his game the last few weeks since coming into the side is his contested marking. It's been a real strength. He's been able to do it on a number of occasions, and that's where he's got most of his goals from.
Again, Hurdy wants to know where his man was.
Well, John Butcher kicks his second goal in a row here. And there's a few questions being asked of the defence of the Bombers as to exactly who was playing on John Butcher at that time.
Whoever it was giving him plenty of space.
Yep. Hill goes back in the middle immediately with effect as Watson affected the clearance out wide. Logan was able to get a timely hand there. Bombers split here. McVeigh. Thomas really aggressive. Ran him down brilliantly. Stanton. Lovett Murray's got the height advantage on Pearce. Over the top to Melksham. Long handball to Watson. He says, come on, someone going to come past me. Drags the ball inside to Leroy. Took his eye off the ball momentarily. Looking for the give and go back. Zaharakis got it to McVeigh. McVeigh from the standing start. Kicked it around the corner. Minor score.
Well, this quarter's play on at every opportunity for the Bombers. Apart from probably being told to lift their intensity around the contest, speed of ball is the other area they've improved in this quarter.
McVeigh getting quite angry in his thoughts there. Facial expressions. Carlisle across the front spoils that ball. Have a look at McVeigh's reaction after that point. He was really excited about someone or something. Non-freeze. Zaharakis.
And King, I know you're going to talk to Dean Brogan at half-time, who's up in the coach's box, but he just needs to be replaced with another senior body. Whatever they recruit over summer, they've got to get themselves another chance, another senior man in the ruck for mine.
Being mauled at the headouts, Jared, it does take its toll, as you can see here.
An opportunity coming through there, Welsh. Carlisle did well to control the ball in front of Westhoff. There's Hardingham, likes to run. He's got McVeigh further down. He peels off now. McVeigh's got Monfries. Marks too far to score for Angus. Monfries.
Just not pushing up to support each other enough now, Port Adelaide.
55 metres out, Monfries. High ball, square, Hill. Westhoff, fist there. Davey out of mid-air, missed.
They broke wide, Essendon. One player pushed up and then another one just cruised in behind, and on the overlap they eventually trailed off, and Port Adelaide have just got to, over the summer period, get used to when one man runs up a line to defend, someone's got to go behind him instantaneously like the top sides.
Pearce short to Boak. Daniel Pearce wide there, looking for Jonas, who takes an immediate spell on the bench. There's Dean Brogan in the back right corner. You can just see him with has a biro just in case the camera comes on him to make it look like he's doing something. Big Dino, a former NBL champ, turned AFL star, recently retired. Carlisle doing some nice work. They take their basketball very seriously in Adelaide, and he was a star at it.
Dean Brogan should try and recruit him for your team, BT.
Yes, he should. Wayne Swass, of course, one recruit, Jono, that we've got. He's always injured. Thomas, Stanton, Heppel.
Really like the work of Matt Thomas. He's given away a free kick just there, but his coach, I think, would kill for another 2 or 3 players with the want to do the work he does. Not always makes correct decisions. Would be infuriating sometimes with some of those rush decisions that he does make, but the package is one that you need in footy clubs by the bulk.
What about Heppel? They kept telling him he's getting tired. He refused to accept it, and he just looks as fresh as a daisy. Around the corner goes Boak. Schultz is the target. Hardingham's there. Gray front and centre was nice. Gets rid of the potential tackler. Thought about it, had a second go. Brilliant position. Well done, Schultz, as well.
Well, it was Schultz who made the contest. A high ball did come in from Boak. and Schultz just makes the contest here, gets the ball to ground, and front and square was great. Butcher was out the back of the contest, but it was Davey down one end who kicked the goal like that earlier in the quarter, and Gray's been able to respond for Port Adelaide with the type of work he needs to do.
Yep, that's his capacity, upper end.
We've got 4 goals apiece in this second quarter now. It's a 4-point ball game. And all of a sudden, the crowd are stunned once again at the revival of a reinvigorated Port Adelaide. Melksham with the clearance. Here's Davey. Keeps his feet when Logan went to the ground unnecessarily. Roden, beautiful, clever tap on as well involved. Trengove. Boat was able to pick it up cleanly. He's got Stanton to beat, just back inside, nice. Doing this brilliantly. Salopek says, come on, someone come at me. He goes high to Schultz. Butcher from 3 deep.
Well, Tate Pears has just been tracking him and tracking him and tracking him. He did a big full 360, and it was the Butcher that came back with the flight of the ball and executed a great mark.
He has a look at the big screen, Pears, Gerard, as you point out there, just to see where he did lose him. And he goes, oh, yeah, you see now. In the meantime, here's Butcher for his 3rd goal of the quarter, and to put Point back in front. Gee, it was horrible off the boot, but the result is great.
Jono, that is going to qualify in the top 10 worst kicks at goal for the year, but it actually got through the big sticks. But
doesn't matter how they get there, Gerard.
It's the lap. And we may get some vision of a wider shot than this at half-time, but he did a full lap, I reckon 100 metres, to get to that position where he gets the best jump at the goal.
He certainly did. He started out on 50 here,
yep.
Worked back around the boundary line to take that mark.
Butcher, 3rd goal of the quarter, 4th in a row for Port. They lead by 2 points. I want you to have a look at this kick off the boot. Have a look at the spin of the ball. Look at it. Oh, boy, defy anyone to get it working like that. That is an absolute ripper. Zaharakis. The big fella Jonas. Out the back, Port with numbers. Motlop says, go, Daniel. Daniel this way, that away. Great control and poise. An opportunity. Banner to Gray. And he marks out in front of Kyle Hardingham.
It's good movement. I haven't seen enough of Port Adelaide's forward line functioning like this with so many multiple options, all leading up to the ball, Jono.
Well, they are, and they've been able to mix it up a little bit in this quarter as well, because their last 2 goals they have got before this set shot was from the big high ball in.
For his 3rd goal, Gray, directly in front, 35 out. Port have kicked 5 in a row and lead it by 8 points.
They're not going away, Jono.
No, they're not going away, and they've been able to get back in front in the tackle count in this quarter. It was all Bombers, 19-10 at one stage. Now Port Adelaide back in front for the quarter in the pressure side, and that's since they've lifted that rate, their pressure around the footy. It's the tail of the game so far. The side that has put the most pressure on as they've been able to go forward and kick multiple goals.
Gray kicks his 3rd goal, does it very, very nicely. And they are a little agitated in that box at the moment. What do we do? David King.
Well, just having a look at the flat numbers, boys. They've taken 11 marks inside their forward 50, Port Adelaide, and won 24 contested possessions. That is far too high. That's game-high type averages for most clubs.
Clearance out of the middle goes to Banner. A high ball, West off 4 deep. Just got interrupted his run. Here's Pears trying to keep it alive. They're desperate now, the Port forward end. Love it, Murray to Watson, Watson to Stanton. Stanton to Melksham. Melksham will start to wind the wheels up here. Looks for the triple bounce. They close him down on the boundary. Zaharakis needs a good bounce. Got it. Roden got him. Great pressure in the end. The umpire said a push in the back as he kicked. Good chase by Roden. He effected what he was after, and that's the slowdown. Zaharakis to Hurley, somehow got out of the loop, Hurley. And Gerard just spoke about this early in the game with Trengove. He just lets them get the yard on him.
There's something he needs to work on. I'd love to see him playing the ruck.
There was no
go
block
forward, but
I think it'll be purely next year. The last 2 to 3 months where he has been played in that position, it's got to be for his development to move up the field.
Hurley for his 3rd goal of the quarter. And that one's not going to work. Siren sounds to end the half. An exciting half of football. Port Adelaide, that's right. Port Adelaide lead it by 8 points. Stunning stuff. 10-7-67 to the Bombers. 9-5-59.
the first half dozen weeks is Watson going forward and becoming that 3rd player or that 3rd marking option up forward, in particular on this ground.
Was it this year that he started forward a couple of times early in the year and he looked really strong leading out, Gerard?
He did early in the year. It was one of the things that set his season up.
Yeah. There he is. Watson, speak of the devil, goes inside 50. Hill's there, Davey, and 3 defenders. Alapati Carlisle. Motlop got a horrible bounce. Myers followed him and was able to recover quicker. Hardingham did well to burn off a couple. Nice little chipper back to Davey. He's got free space in front. Don't you like that? Here's Hurley. Geez, got a long stretch, hasn't he? Trengove got out of trouble then. And now Pearce and Davey and Jetta join in the party. And that's out of bounds.
Well, they've bounced out on the scene and they're up and they're electric. They've got to get score on the board. There's the reach. And probably a free kick, you could argue. Had his hand slapped.
He attacks the ball so aggressively in the air, Michael Hurley. Yeah, gotta love that. And doesn't look like the pressure's relenting here in the second half, so stay with us. We get a tight one.
Which is a good sign. Good sign for Port Adelaide. I agree. I think it's going to be a tight one right through to the finish, BT. But that's where Port can't afford to take a breath here at half-time. They need that same intensity.
Indeed they do. They had a mini lapse in the second quarter and were able to get themselves back in where they conceded 4 consecutive Essendon goals. And they're able to get back on that with 5 of their own. Crowd in here today of almost high 30s, I'd say. Ryder with a bit of a push there. About 38,000, we think, through the gates here at the moment. Not a bad Sunday evening crowd.
Well, this is the kick out that Kingy was focusing on before the match, trying to work the ball off this half-back line.
The one where they go too wide here. Now, looks like Motlop's got them out of trouble. Now, they've gone wide, so they've got their players really wide now, says David King. If they turn it over, they're in trouble. But on this occasion, they don't turn it over, so they get away with it. Gray, back inside now. Took a little bounce. Tried to work back again. Roden there. Watson got the run down, but Gray got the kick away. Even at the back. Couldn't quite hang on. He has to make an effort or he'll be penalised here. And he's got him in the back, I think. I think it's a free kick to Ebert. Didn't tackle him correctly, said the umpire.
Well, I think the in the back was there in the first instance. Well, he certainly played that way that he did go, and then eventually...
Well, because they're sitting over the ball, you can't just jump on their back, can you?
No.
You've still got to tackle correctly.
So it'd be interesting to see whether it was a second Bombers player coming in which caused the umpire to make that decision, because it was going to be that or holding the ball.
This is really interesting. You'd reckon he'd just walk up.
Well, he's a left footer.
To the Steve Johnson.
And just to the near side.
See, I reckon Steve Johnson would have walked up to about 1.5 metres, 2 metres from the goal post.
And Jared Roughhead would have done the same. Can't just lie on their back there. You can see that. That is, I think that's a free. I think the umpire got that right. But you're right, Jared.
He could have done it a lot better than that.
Steve Johnson knows what he wants to do in that situation. Jared Roughhead knows what he wants to do in that situation. And they're very composed as a result. Gee, that stamped Jay Schultz, that kick from Hardingham then. I just reckon players, and I said it in the first half, they're confused when they get there sometimes. Not that Ebert is, because he's experienced in that area. Ryder. Gray got one high. The initial right hand from Heppel was high. He's disappointed, but Gray will get a look at his 4th goal. That's the angle.
You're starting to think, BT, that actually Port can win this game? Because nobody here thinks they're going to win it, I don't think.
No, I'm probably with them at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
But as each one of these goes by, I'm becoming more and more convinced they're here for the win rather than a good result. Gray for his 4th goal. Looks pretty good. Crowd's gone silent. He's got it. He says, come on.
Well, they're in some trouble, the Bombers. It's starting to look a lot, Jono, like the game down at Skilled Stadium yesterday, where at some stage you just have to ask yourself, well, are they going to lose the Cats? Are they going to lose the Bombers? And I mean, it's not at that stage just yet, but Port Adelaide aren't far away from creating some serious problems for them on the scoreboard.
Bombers were up by 21 points at the 15-minute mark of the second quarter. They're now down by 15 points. Biggest lead that Port have had in the game is right now.
What do you think, Kingy?
Well, it's 6 goals from 7 inside 50s in the last 20 minutes of football. Their defenders really need to start winning some crucial one-on-ones.
Out of the middle. Here's a start with a stoppage win. Hippel onto his favoured left side. Nice ball to Hurley, who has to stretch again. It wasn't an ideal delivery, but it was in the realms of possibility. Trengove wide to Ebert, had to beat a couple, and he did well to split him.
He did well there, Trengove. He closed in nicely on Hurley.
Here comes the Butcher. And just a little too strong for him. Had some very clean hands today, Butcher.
He has. Banner was a little bit disappointed that he ran into some good space and wasn't used.
Westhoff does the ruck work. Ryder got it down the throat of Howlett. Now, Bombers have got numbers here, but Pearce was sitting off the back of the contest and did it well, and look at that. They look impressive. Gets it on the Banner. He lines up the goal and just to the left.
Well, he could have gone back and taken 30 seconds off the clock and had a good set shot there, Banner. But it was a missed tackle by the Bombers in Hardingham that allowed Pearce an easy ball inside forward 50 for Port Adelaide.
What's the temptation as a player in that situation, John, not to pull yourself up and have the set shot? Is what are you trying to avoid?
We always, you look for clear space. I don't think he had clear space right around him in that point to play on him. He had to kick off one step in the end.
Got the Butcher again on his own.
Here he is, Butcher. Gives it to Westhoff. Cassisi says go. Westhoff a little offline.
Well, they're finding it difficult to clear their back 50. Young Tom Jonas, he elected to go the bump, and unfortunately for him, he was the one who got shook up. He's still recovering. Trust me, beyond the ball.
There's Hooker with that sliding Michael Jackson approach to the ball. Hardingham, bit of a sort of forward moonwalker, Jono. There's Hooker when he
We're all
gets
shook up. We've got the Jonas brothers out there where everything's going on.
Bit of an escort here for Melcham. Got an outline to Standard. He's got Monfries on the inside. Ignored that. Zaharakis to Ryder. Got an open look. Closing him down. Pearce got it to Davey. Davey should go back, but he'll go one more to Remus. Remus doesn't want the set shot. Goes the right foot banana and bends a miss. And look at Jake Carlisle standing 10 metres out going, you have to be kidding. He was most annoyed. Jake Carlisle standing at the top of the square. You can see Hurley there. That's Hurley. And just to his right was Carlisle. Had even more room.
Well, that goes to show it must be a team rule. If those players are disappointed.
Good tackle there from the Bombers. Oh, that had to be thrown.
Certainly looks that way, Jono.
Yep.
Lobe meeting the sandwiches great. Pears as Hardingham splits from the contest. Butcher's got him in a tackle. Heppel. Danger to Pears. He elects to go to the boundary. Boundary's always your friend in this situation. And the Heppel kick is just brilliant.
It's classy, isn't it?
Yep. Zaharakis. Look at him queuing up in the middle. Carlisle's got the one over the top of Zaharakis. Wants it. That's off the side of the boot. Horrible kick by David Zaharakis.
Almost as horrible as the chase by Motlop.
Yeah, it wasn't good, was it?
No, it was just not up to scratch.
Just having a look behind the ball here, boys. It looked like they've rolled an extra number back here, the Bombers. I just think James Hird might be teaching these boys a lesson down back to fight your own battles. They've got to really carry this back six through a finals campaign. They'll be leaving it one-on-one.
Ebert did the splits as he went to ground there.
At the moment, it's Dyson Heppel who's the loose player. He's a pretty handy player to have loose. He knows where it is and he knows how to distribute.
Motlop receives this here. He organised this. He told players where to go. He wants to run and carry now. And he does. Kick needs to be really good, and it's excellent. And really didn't fight hard enough, I think, their boat to get the hands out and take that grab. Motlop steps off the boundary because he is absolutely spent. But I liked his organisation across half-back. Boat through some traffic. Hooker's got to go, and he did. Handball back inside. The run by O'Shea to the open goal. Boy, oh boy, they just keep kicking goals.
Well, I was pleased with O'Shea's speed. Then he stood side by side with Myers when the ball was going in, and his speed to get a good 2 or 3 metre break was fantastic. Once again, it was Schultz getting in there to create the contest, and a good goal assist. There we see O'Shea burst through screen. And Port keep doing enough, Jared.
Seven goals in a row now for Port Adelaide. And doing it with a 22-point lead. This clearance is now critical for the Bombers. And they get it. Stanton. Ryder will make it.
That's a great run and chase for the football.
Hurley's got the one-on-one he craved for. Or has he, as help arrives, and a hold off the ball. Free kick, Hurley. Let's listen in.
You've gone straight back. You're throwing it out to block him out of the contest. Don't jump with the footy. No, let's get this sorted first, fellas. Try. Back, please, Daniel. Back, please. That's the mark there.
Hurley comes in. He kicks the goal, and the Port Adelaide players now want a further explanation.
Well, they had a 2-on-1 situation, so they need to address it. It's about experience for Jackson Trengove. Is he going to play down back? He's got to sort these things out. And that's what the umpire is saying. He blocked his run at the football.
But when he did it,
he had no eyes for the ball. And
I was going to say, yeah, that's the critical one for the umpire, is once his eyes leave the flight of the ball. I know you're allowed to do it, just his timing was out with it.
Jackson Trengove there. Let's get down to David King.
So activated, boys. Collier into the game. Hooker out for the Bombers.
So an early one here in the third quarter. The Bombers feeling they need the Collier run right now at the expense of Hooker. Free kick against Trengove before. Not happy, but I think looking at the replay, the umpire's probably right. Although he did try and engage him. Here's Watson. With the stoppage, goes long and deep, and in the end, Chapman. So, Port issuing the challenge. Boat. Motlop's back on. Neat little kick to Roden. He's got a runner wide in Cassisi. Ignores that and immediately finds Butcher. He's claimed the mark. Did it hit the deck? The umpire says yes. Butcher back inside. Swift hands. Motlop back to Butcher. In the end, they somehow conjure an opportunity up. Pearce on his wrong right side. Got it into a nice, dangerous spot. Hill, Carlisle, and Welsh.
Yeah, it's a dangerous spot both ways, though. If you don't maintain possession, the rebound is on.
The Monfrees. To Zaharakis. He's got Howard in the middle. Didn't even look. Stanton says, come at me, please. Ryder does. Gee, that's good. Great kick, great presentation, and really nice jukes from Paddy Ryder.
Well, you'd reckon if they're going to win this game, Jono, Paddy Ryder and or David Hill have got to have big quarters in front of goal. At least what's left of the match.
Man in the background happy with his Beatles haircut as Ryder lines up from the boundary line, about 45 metres out. And that's to the near side. And this for Ryder and the Bombers. Here's Collier, the sub that has been activated into the game at the expense of Hooker. Late inclusion today. Fletcher out. Here's Carlisle to the boundary. 15-point Port Adelaide lead. Hasn't been more than a kick in it at any of the major breaks. The Bombers by 2 points in the first quarter and Port by 8 points at half-time. Heppel. Logan eyes on the ball. Off hands. Davey lurking dangerously before Alapati Carlisle arrived.
Just wondering, Jared, with the clearance dominance that the Bombers are experiencing at the moment, is it worth putting Heppel on ball and just see if he can get some quality releasing off that first possession?
Well, he's as good as they've got in that area. Maybe they're just trying to protect his body to some degree, Kingy, but I reckon if the game has really meant something for the Bombers by way of 4 points, that might happen, but maybe without that critical element, they may just protect him to some degree. Would you put him in there yourself?
I think winning form's good form to go into a final series. I wouldn't like to be beaten by Port Adelaide as my final dress rehearsal.
That's a fair point.
Ebert fought for the front, did well to hold it, but in the end, the slipping of the hands. Melksham to Stanton. Stanton with a chiseler, Collier. Collier's got the running Hardingham out wide. Kyle Hardingham, horrible kick. O'Shea wants to keep going. Now he did not make contact. Great tackle.
That is just an unfortunate lack of feel.
Monfries didn't realise he was right on the tail. Works the ball high. Ryder put up the one claw, couldn't mark it. Reimers is hanging about the fringes. In goes Hurley. Legs were taken from under him. And now Logan. To Cray, strong hands. And he just says to his team, by way of his gesturing, boys, we're being challenged here. Let's just slip into neutral for a minute. O'Shea in the hands of the trainers. Good control by Gray. Now Lobie.
You'd have to think, Kingy, that the substitute for Port Adelaide wouldn't be far away. I'm not sure who they're going to take off. My gut feel is maybe a Jonas, but a little bit more run from Port Adelaide wouldn't hurt as well.
No, the next goal critical for Port. If they can get that, I mean, they kicked the 6, 7 of the last 8 goals. You'd assume that 1 or 2 more could really put this game to bed.
You're a mind reader, Gerard, because Broadbender's coming on. How good is he, Kingy?
Oh, he's a star.
You get lucky sometimes.
You could almost think he was perched high above the interchange area, having a look at that as it happened. Marvellous stuff, Gerard. Jetta. Monfries. Both subs activated now. Game on here. Melksham with a really nice inside handball. Zaharakis, Heppel. There's the free flow. Look at it. You wanted Kingy getting some good use of the ball on that left from Heppel. Reimers inside to the little man here. Welsh couldn't quite get it done. Jonas.
O'Shea's the player that's being substituted for Port Adelaide.
I think they're still pulling some of the Etihad turf out of his nostrils during after that chase down from Stanton.
It was an unfortunate final moment. He was on fire, he led well, and he got buried.
Limping a little there, O'Shea. Difficult bounce here. And in the end.
You get the feeling players are still a little bit nervous about taking the ball over the line there.
Yeah, I don't reckon they had much idea whether they're allowed to or not.
I mean, he could quite easily have just grabbed it. He was under pressure, John Allen taking it over. It looked as if he was disguising something there and nearly cost him the goal.
Just means they're not confident in the umpire's decision-making process there yet. Free kick downfield here.
They get nervous if they've got 2 or 3 metres on the edge of the opponent going back. As we see a late one here from Reimers. Just bump after the kick. Downfield, free kick.
Westhoff continues it along the boundary line. His Schultz is under it, couldn't get a jump at it. Melksham has done pretty well. There's back to Melksham. Lovely little tip handball to Zaharakis. Jetta. Watson. Hardingham. Monfries. Half-back. In the end, they won that battle, Port. They forced the turnover. Pure pressure. Thomas. Chaplin. Sent a bit of a helicopter in. And Hill to Hardingham. Up the middle, the penetration here is good to Watson. He sees the fast-booted Davey out wide. Does he take Pearce on? Ryder wants it long. He says, come at him. Paddy's got no juice left. He wants it long. Give it to him long. Paddy at the back. There it is. Trying to convince him to come. He said, I can't. My legs want to just stand here.
Well, it goes back, Jerry, to the Chaplin kick inside 50 for Port Adelaide. He just didn't get the spin on it required to get over the top.
He's hurt his shoulder here, Paddy, too. So he's got it strapped, but you can see he's not running freely with it. And just when he put up the both hands, you can just see just not quite long enough on the replay there, but he definitely hurt that left shoulder, as you can see, strapped. Ryder comes in and hits the post.
Well, hopefully we've got some vision of it, because there's another issue that Adam Paddy Carlisle, there's the vision of him holding his shoulder, but Adam Paddy Carlisle should have been involved in that contest, and he didn't work hard enough. And he's a player of enormous upside, I reckon, if he can get the fitness that a midfielder has, so he can just do the extra work that Dustin Fletcher does, get from contest to a contest.
Opportunity here. Howlett.
While he does that, it probably allows Trengove, as you've been saying all game, to push up the ground a little bit more.
Boy, have we got a cracking game. Port by 13. 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And we're up and about because these two teams are up and about. Watson in amongst a milling pack. Boak. As soon as you put hands on it, there's pressure on you.
Well, here's a wide shot. Have a look at that at Paddy Carlisle. There he is down the bottom there, 27. Now, I watched him put the hands on the hips about 20 seconds before that, and there he goes again. Just hasn't got the tank at the moment. Now, he's missed some footy, but there's a lot of upside.
Boat free in the neutral wing area. His handball off to Pearce. Just got the kick away.
That's what they're going to take out of their game, Port Adelaide. Giving a handball to a stationary player.
Welsh there. Monfries. Little high for Reamers. Chaplin did well.
It was a great night.
Just get the feeling, boys, this is a side that doesn't know how to win versus a side that probably does in the Bombers. And if they can maintain the belief, as we see that mark, it's a great mark in the end. If they can maintain the belief, Port, I think they can really win this game.
Oldest trick in the book here from Paddy Carlisle. Or is it Chaplin?
It's Chaplin.
Chaplin. I'm going to do my shoes up now. I'm not sure whether the umpire can just call play on here, but he said I'm going to slow this down and do my shoe up. Not sure what the rule is there, John. Whether you
Normally you get rid of the boot and deal with it later.
We feel that he actually undid the lace then deliberately and then did it back up.
I think it was excessive in going the double knot too, Brian. That's what I thought. He was having a lendiness there.
Hill. Good kick to Collier. Round the corner, Travis Collier. Deep.
That hurts. Really does hurt him, given he's a substituted player.
Have a look at this.
He's the double knot.
There's no lace undone.
Oh, you can see the back of his boot there. That's the issue.
Oh, there it is. So legitimate from Chaplin. We forgive. Well spotted, Jono. And offhand, so 3:45 remaining. Port Adelaide 13-point lead.
Just having a look at Port Adelaide. Justin Westhoff has had just 8 possessions. He's playing in the ruck, so he's got a fair bit of midfield time, part-time in the ruck. He's a bloke, PT, that's still got another level to go. I mean, whilst the Bombers have got plenty of players that can get better, so too have Port Adelaide, which suggests that we are in for a very tight finish.
Not sure whether you'll do any good in the media, Jono, if you keep telling the truth there. We were hoping that you wouldn't see that.
I still don't think the umpire should hold it up that long, no.
West off. They do it in basketball, but of course this is football. That side's pretty weary as we get near the final quarter.
I think it's a real point, BT. I reckon they've got to share the load a little bit more, Port Adelaide. Maybe throw a Brett Ebert into the middle of the ground. He's been playing there at Sandford level. Give the likes of a Boak or a Thomas a chop out and get him into the game. He's had half a dozen or so possessions, 8 in fact. He'd love a crack at it.
Have a look at the Bombers all pushing up here. All got an opponent. There's no loose player sideways. They've all pushed up with the within 5 metres of their man. Forcing Westhoff to do this. Kick to a contest. They win the contest, Schultz.
Motlop one out. Dangerous time.
Motlop using the body. Here it is. Almost predicted on cue, Gerard Collier. Run down by Butcher. Gee, Elwyn Davey went in with the hip and shoulder while Butcher was low. Luckily, he missed.
Well, you're right, Gerard. You said the game reminded you of Sydney and Geelong yesterday, and that was the thing. All the Geelong faithful, they were waiting for the Geelong to do something at some point. I think it was going to turn, and it just didn't happen.
Boat taken down, picked up by Gray. Right foot snap, it's got the right amount of bend or too much. It's there, I think it's a goal. Gray's kicked it. His 5th goal.
Well, again, a goal from a stoppage. And right now it's starting to sink in. They are going to need some serious turnaround in form in all elements of the game. Stoppages, defence, run, support and conversion. And here it is just inside. Travis Boak again. He's having a stellar game. And he's an outstanding finisher, Robbie Gray. You'd love to see him again in the side at the top end of the ladder.
Outstanding finisher, you say, Gerard, and that he is. 5 goals today, Gray. He bent that one around the back of the goalpost magnificently. And Port, just before three-quarter time, now over 3 goals in front. Watson to Hill. Getting back, though.
It's a couple of times now. Chaplin in this quarter.
Yep. Handball wasn't great. Here come the Bombers. Logan went and just steeled himself for any possible contact then.
Just late in the quarter, Chaplin needs to hold things up, take control as one of the leaders out there.
Sue Courtley.
As we see
the
Paddy
physio.
Ryder, yes,
Yep.
with Sue Courtley getting some last-minute strapping, or adding to the strapping already on the shoulder.
Jetta gets a good look. It's a funny little chip kick. Chaplin wouldn't have got it. Gee, it wasn't tipped with great confidence from Leroy Jetta. He had plenty of time. So a minute 46 remaining.
Well, if they go the fast break, they've got Robbie Gray, one out in the forward half.
What a launch. Free kick will go to the Bombers. They pay the advantage. Hardingham on to Stanton. Stanton sees Leroy Jetta wide. Leroy Jetta's got Welsh inside if he wants. Ignores that. Went to Collier. Wrong decision in the end. Free kick though. The Bombers get hold of one here and it'll be Stanton. And I reckon he can kick the distance from here. Brent Stanton. Driven forward in the Cassisi tackle, said the umpire. Stanton with a real crucial one from the Bombers, from 48 out. Gee, that is just horrible.
They got pretty close to the man on the mark, and it just didn't hit the ball right.
I'll have a look up at the screen to see what he did wrong. There's Matty Primus, Ebert there. The interchange steward on the right-hand side, just looking a little perplexed.
Rob Port going to do the same thing again. Kick it out to the commentary side with numbers around the footy.
Ebert signalling to one of his teammates, get off, I want to get out there.
Getting it close to the boundaries they can, but the Bombers keep it alive to their credit. Trengrove is able to finish it now to the boundary. 3/4 of a minute remaining.
Jared, just having a look at the clearance numbers, it's 30 to 30 each,
yeah.
but 8 goals to 5. 8 goals to Port Adelaide so far is a huge return.
Monfries!
Well, they've got to win one-on-ones to get back into this match and to snatch the 4 points, and that's a classic example. Monfries in front. Can he go back and do a better job than the last crack they've had? Hit the post twice. They've had the Stanton pie floater.
Now, Monfries is a right-to-left worker of the ball normally.
Well, that works into your little...
Works against it. So it should be sort of a nil or draw, but he's out of the quadrant anyway, so it's not in the normal quadrant affected by the breeze here, Jono. This is the Monfries kick. Now he goes back. And let's listen. I'm really concerned about this advice that they get here at the moment about having to kick straight, or why. I want to know why they're taken out of their normal leverage run-up. Monfries from on 50. Kick on the way is a little left. Right to left, he worked the ball. And a minor score, 3/4 time. Good game. Port Adelaide, what do they do? The Bombers Brains Trust. Port Adelaide by 16. 13-10-88 to the Bombers, 10-12-72.
That's how we addressed them at 3/4 time.
Ready to go with the last quarter action here, Port Adelaide. What can the Bombers do to get themselves back in the hunt? Free kick out of the middle off the ball by the other umpire. It'll go the way of Watson.
Well, that time Ryder hit the ball forward. They spent a lot of time today, Ryder, hitting the ball backwards. This time they're getting the momentum forward.
Against Monfries.
Kingy, I think a lot of it's to do with the belief that you spoke about with Port Adelaide.
Yeah, I just wonder where they got the dare, the bravery now that's required when you win games of football. They're in the balance, and this is a great kick. I think Motlop off half-back's been terrific.
Roden back inside. Salopek got it away. Here comes Gray. Carlo in front. Gray at the back. Kicks his 6th.
Well, I hope we pick it up, Jared, but it was a fantastic grab by Thomas in the middle of the ground. Tricky little handball to Roden. We'll see as he's falling to ground. Great release, but it's this here. Change of direction. Changed his run, Roden, back into the corridor. That's what sets up this goal. Gray competes in the goal square. Ball falls his way. Good start again by Port Adelaide in this quarter.
Robbie Gray getting it done again. Six goals for Robbie Gray up forward. Not a bad effort. 6-1 in fact. Matty Primus to the phones. Dean Laidley in the foreground there. So the Bombers now under some extraordinary pressure. Biggest margin for Port, 22 points. Clearance to go with the 22. Boat to Ebert. Love it, Murray. I thought he got in his back there. Very unlucky not to get a free there. There is Banner in amongst a couple of tacklers.
That was a lot more obvious than the one he got in the third quarter.
Yeah.
We'll see here. All over his back was Lovett Murray.
Yeah, just one miss there. Beautiful bounce by the umpire here. Roden, quick hands by Port, impressive. Around the corner, Butcher!
How strong is he?
Boy, is he clean with the jukes, this guy.
Well, one-on-one, James Hird's got some problems in defence. He's got a pretty handy antidote to come back into the side, of course, in Dustin Fletcher, who will continue to do what he's done for the majority of his career, and that's play on 2 men at the same time. But they have been stitched up in one-on-ones for the whole afternoon.
Butcher comes in, and he's got another one, doing a good job, 28-point lead.
Well, that's 2 in a row to start the final quarter. You could see the passion in the group at 3/4 time. They got in nice and tight right at the end. Matty Primus tried to deliver that strong message to send them out with a bit of inspiration behind it. And he's been able to succeed with them starting this quarter as well as what they have right throughout every quarter in this game.
Butcher getting it done. He kicks his 4th goal now. He's been impressive. Kicked the last 3 goals of the game, Port. Lead it by 28. Ryder to Watson. Couldn't be any more perfect than that out of the middle. Falling down just here at the moment. Good tackle. Bombers got some numbers. Melksham in support. Hurley says, get out of the way. I want to bend this one around the corner. Michael Hurley today, 3 goals, 1. Casisi just kicking as close as possible to the boundary line to give Schultz a chance to get it over the line. He does. Intelligent play. Look at this lady here. She got stamped with the footy, got a falcon, and the daughter asking whether she's okay. Just on the back of the head as the ball was coming back in, and the point of the ball wouldn't have been very pleasant at all.
And Jono, if you believe in the curse of the wooden spoon, there's a bit riding on this for Port Adelaide and the Gold Coast.
There is Port win this. They will jump the Gold Coast.
Was that a
by
throw
percentage
from Jobe Watson? Ball went forward. Hill wanted the 3-0 on there. Out of trouble. Did well, Surgeon. And Broadbent, the activated sum for Port to Roden. Half back, Roden just goes wide and finds Boat. Right in front of where David King sits. Interchange area on the left. Yes, King.
BT, they I think, got the belief that they can win this game, Port, now. Their energy to run and present, such as here with Butcher, is just first class.
What about the clean jukes on this guy?
Jeez, I reckon he could have got there.
Gray then. Good kick.
Hardingham got rid of it just in the nick of time. Banner came in, gave it off to Ebert on his left. Danger, danger here for the Bombers. The defensive punch, but John Butcher, you have got a set of hands. Schultz recovering. Oh, stood still Myers, and Broadbent coming at pace. Just draws Collier to the ball, but once again the ball was too high, allowing Jonas to spoil. Collier with a lot of wax holding that fringe. Steady. Hands love it, Murray. In comes Howlett. Melksham, but there's nothing on it. It's a wall of Port Adelaide players at the moment. Jonas to Pearce. Has a bit of a look around. Pearce, the damaging left boot to Schultz.
Oh, geez, their forward line has been absolutely superb. The question was, coming into the match, could they get the ball in there often enough? They've got some really talented players down there. And Kingy, you'll probably have the numbers. I reckon they've taken more marks inside their forward 50 today than they have for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, spot on, Jared. I think the one-on-one defensive mindset of the Bombers has really helped their forward line. There's no doubt about that. They are strong when they're on. Schultz and certainly Butcher today. These numbers are quite flattering for the Port side.
Good partnership, isn't it? Schultz for his 3rd goal, directly in front. Very reliable kick. He gets this. 3rd goal for him. Port by 34 points.
Well, Jared, 41 entries for 27 scoring shots. So that's very, very efficient going forward.
It's as much as it's efficient for Port, it's really inefficient defence for the Bombers, and that's the big concern for James Hird. I mean, unless something happens of the miraculous variety, this is going to be a brilliant victory for Port Adelaide, but it's also a horrible loss for the Bombers and expose their defensive issues.
What does this do to the mental state of the Bombers on the eve of the finals? Guys, a bit of a walloping from one of the teams down near the bottom on their home track.
Well, it's not going to be great, that's for sure, but they've got 2 weeks to build. I'm sure at some point there'll be some solid competitive training thrown in there.
What they've got is 15 minutes also to do something about it. It hasn't looked like it. We've seen the game played in this quarter in the back half, and James Hird will be saying, well, OK, who's going to give a bit of a spark here? Where's the run going to come from?
It's not beyond a Bomber team that can get a run together from here. They are one of the few teams in the comp that have got the speed and the running ability to be able to do that. Free kick, Logan.
They have got the ability, but even if they do go down today, the Bombers, does that change James Hird's mindset in terms of what he was going to do this week with the group in resting a few players and things like that? Does he now start to think, well, no, they need to compete leading into a final?
But I think coming into the game, they took in a couple of blokes with concussion, everybody coming off a pretty hot one over in Western Australia last week. They came in without Dustin Fletcher, and they've brought in a couple of blokes who haven't had a lot of footy, and they're preparing them for the couple of weeks down the track. So they may have some reasons and some valid reasons, but it doesn't get away from the fact that they're still getting walloped by a side on the bottom of the ladder that's had 2 wins for the season.
Sure, they've done this well, Port, bringing it up along the boundary line, just presenting up and picking off a couple of free kicks. Jay Schultz. Gray was on the lead then. It was ignored. For Selipek back inside, and now ultimately Daniel Pearce, but they've got it in a good position here. Pearce too much on it for Butcher. Ripple to ground, got it just in the nick of time to Carlisle, and now Zaharakis. Good hands. Harding hand. Can he give them some dash off half back? Here they go. They've got it into a Remus position. Too close to the front centre was Collier then. Kick off the ball. The advantage paid now. High ball. Here comes Schultz again. Just looking to break the pack. That was against Jay Schultz.
I said before that the top 6 sides average 80 points against. In the last 6 weeks, or the last 5 weeks, the Bombers have conceded 153, 166, 99, 101 and 134.
Gee. Here's Ryder with an opportunity out the back door, Gerard, just to get things juiced up a little, and Paddy gets it.
Well, that's on the back of averaging 63 inside 50s against as well. That's why those numbers are so high, Gerard. But this could be the spark that Essendon need, and the fans are looking for here at Etihad, with Ryder able to dribble a goal and keep things alive. As you said, they can score very quickly, the Bombers.
Just a little reminder they needed, the Bombers, to keep themselves in this one. Paddy Ryder gets it back to 28 points. We go back to the middle. The clearance machine is in there, led by Jobe Watson. Let's go down to David King.
Well, I think the major concern coming out for James Hird is, as Gerard pointed out, 14 marks inside 50. Schultz has taken 6, but they've scored 8 goals, 6 from those marks. A big, big gap.
Monfries to Collier. 45 out. Collier to the open goal square. 2 and 30 seconds. The Bombers are back.
That's what they need, a couple of fast breaks out of the middle. Nice finish, wobbly ball, but got the job done. Let's have a look how it transpires. Hill gets the wide tap. Stanton gets the ball forward. They're going forward, playing forward footy, not backwards footy. And at a time where the energy levels are pretty sapped, they're running forward. If they can do it without mistake, they can still grab 4 points.
Oh boy, the stadium getting back into this one. Bombers with consecutive goals, back within 22. And they are ready to play now. Have they got the time? 12 minutes left. Hill out of the middle to Melcham. The clearance, the forward penetration, it's all there. Hurley bounced off his nose. Look at the Bombers circling. Remus went and got it. Was a push in the back. The umpire said play on. No, the umpire furthest away has given it free to the Bombers. He came from the middle of the ground, that umpire.
Well, he had a good look at it. It was a big overrule, though, in some ways, or at least a different view to the more senior umpire on the side.
I think we saw one missed in the third, and we saw another one paid, and I think he just wanted to remind players of the consistency of that. Surgeon argues the point. It is a little mystifying. Remus here. to get it back to a 14-point margin. Squeezes the goal. Remus has kicked it, and it's back to 16 points.
Couple of really good centre clearances. Nice tap work by Hill, getting it wide and then going forward. I don't think there was much doubt that the free kick was here. Let's have another look at it. There's an early dive and then around the neck. Yeah, well, Jono, I'm not sure he actually touched the neck, but from about 473 metres away, it may have looked it.
Three in a row for the Bombers. Crowd alight, David King.
They've won the last 6 clearances, the Bombers. This is where they're getting on top in the middle of the ground. And now they've got their forward line functioning. Anything can happen, Brian.
34 points down at the 7-minute mark of this quarter. We're now at the 12 and they're back within 16. Port with the clearance. Here comes Butcher. Off hands. McVeigh under enormous pressure. Westhoff trying to drill a hole through the defence. Collier has given him a bit of zip since being subbed into the game. Sellepek on a football bit. High ball. Westhoff. Off hands. Game is elevated now. Plenty of time now because they've trimmed the margin back. They nipped off 3 goals in 2 minutes, the Bombers. And that gives them a bit of time relief as well. Watson. Stanton. Collier. Pearce. Hurley! Boy, he just about hung on to that. He's hurt himself, Hurley. He crawls out of the contest. Almost made it. Watson really starting to get busy at the stoppages. Realised he was running into a no-win situation in that direction, changed it quickly.
Just watching Steve Sellepek, he's either got to start the run or he's got to get off the ground.
Gee, Melksham did really well to force that contest. Here's Howard, he took him on, takes another bounce. The Bombers looking to go forward with multiple players. The kick goes into Welsh. Welsh with a juggling mark has marked it. He gets up, plays on. Jenner's in the goal square by himself. He'll kick the easiest of goals. Back to 10 points.
Phenomenal fight back this from the Bombers. It's all about belief and it's all about work rate, and that's what they've got at the present time. You're loving the work of Howlett, Jono.
I am. I'm loving this run of Howlett, taking them on. There it is. Great confidence to be able to do that. And this has been it all day. The team has been able to effectively bring the ball back into the corridor with a kick. Most a good contested mark.
What about the contest with Melksham against the bigger man? Bombers 4 in a row, back to within 10 points. David King.
Well, Hurley started this, boys. That fly on the wing, he's really hurt, but the coaching staff tried to take him from the ground and he refuses to come. He wants to lead this club to a victory tonight, and he's the man to do the job.
We've got Carlisle on him, and now Trengove into the ruck trying to get some fresh legs because they're getting flogged by Hill.
Bombers have got the clearance. Watson to Lovett Murray, got to be cool. Coughed it up a little too easy there. Plenty of time here. Bombers have got a free. Thomas is still lying face down on the turf as the Bombers go forward to Hurley. Out wide now, an opportunity here with Surgeon. Monfries did well. Here comes Lovett Murray and Boak. Collier's given them some real zip. Look at him get through the traffic. Now he shapes up and runs into an open goal. Missed it. Travis Collier.
That would have brought the roof down if he had been able to get through and finish with a big goal there, Collier.
Port now right under the pressure pump here. Hill, Lovett Murray, Monfries, long ball. Hurley's got to compete. He does. He takes the mark. Hurley is marked 30 metres out. 45-degree angle. This to get the Bombers within 3. What a Bomber comeback.
Look in the bottom of the screen. They're just strength by Hurley, isn't it?
Only 9 minutes ago, they trailed by 34 points. If this is correct, they trail by 3. Hits the back of the goalpost. Plenty of time. The Bomber fans turning this auditorium into a sea of red and black and a lot of noise. Broadbent line to Selipek.
Lost their run here, Port Adelaide. They really lost their dare, boys. They're not really taking the risks they were at the start of this term. They can't afford to go into their shell for 9 minutes.
Rhino interfered with in his run. Here's Melksham.
I think the other thing they've lost, Kingy, is across the board fanaticism at the tackle. We've seen Essendon players walk through tackles way too often this last 5 minutes. Everyone's fatigued, and yet Port Adelaide have got half a dozen players not prepared to work.
Stanton brushes off the tackle, gives it to Jeddah. The speed's outside with Collier if they want to use him. They do now. He gets hold of the ball, goes short to Hurley. Hurley a long way out, wants to play on the left boot, goes long. Elwyn Davies out the back. This is going to bend for him. Davies taking a mark within 25 metres. See Jeddah in the goal square. Elwyn Davies will go back on his left boot to turn it into a 2-point game.
It's Collier's run. That's the difference at the minute.
He has been impressive. Here's Davies, got the goal. The Bombers are back within 2.
Well, in this final term, it's been Joe Watson with 7 disposals. You mentioned Collier, Jono. He's the one who's been running and carrying, kicked a goal. He's had half a dozen possessions as well.
He's linking up to, if you look at the handball receives there, 23-7. Bombers way.
Yep, well, as Kingy said, Port Adelaide have lost their run. They've lost their spirit.
In exactly 10 minutes, the Bombers have kicked 5 goals to turn a 34-point deficit into a 2-point deficit now. Remarkable 10-minute turnaround from the Bombers. Modern footy at its best. Roden to Butcher. Carlisle, nurturing ball. Here he is, the man of the moment. He's almost an igniter. Collier, short ball to Monfries. Monfries chiselling ball to Watson inside. Reimers comes. Watson wasn't balanced when he kicked the ball. Lobie. The lead was just a little too early for Joe Watson. Lobie cool. Short ball to the other. Sub Broadbent. Gray, who's been fantastic today with 6 goals.
But Essendon have got the game on their terms now. It's Port Adelaide that are just trying to poke the ball around. They haven't got the skills to execute this. And they'll just get turnovers. That's a great mark out wide. Got to bring the ball back. They've got Watson that they've got to get through. And they're not getting the run. Motlop giving them something.
Lobie over the top to Motlop with a bit of run, as you say, Gerard. Now he's confronted. Can he hold the ball in and wait for the troops to arrive? He tried to make an effort, so the umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. And Melksham looks to have hurt himself just a little there.
And the strength they've got, Port Adelaide, still is they've got 3 marking targets. Westhoff, Butcher, Ebert even, deep forward, but they've got to get the ball inside forward 50, and that's letting them down.
Reimers to Stanton. Here comes Hurley. The bump on Selipek. Off hands Chaplin. Caught in the tackle. They get rid of it though, Port, although without great thought. And now Ryder off half-back. Some clean ball. Here's Collier again. In the middle of the ground. He taps it out in front of Ebert. Keeps his feet. Gives it on to Kyle Hardingham. 60 metres out. Hurley at the back has taken a mark. Hurley's been awarded the mark. We'll have a shot in the goal square to put the Bombers in front.
Well, I dare say Collier's just about played himself into a finals
his run
team, because his run and drive has been the reason Essendon have been able to get back into position to hit the lead here late in the last quarter.
Hurley for his 4th goal, for the 6th Bomber goal in a row. Trailed by 34 12 minutes ago. They now lead the Bombers by 4.
20 minutes ago we were talking about whether or not it mattered. Well, I reckon it does matter, as you said earlier, Kingy. Much better going into a final series with some winning form, or at least knowing that you can turn this sort of exciting run on, than it is going in with a flogging at the hands of the side at the bottom of the ladder. Just lost his opponent too often in this final term at a Paddy Carlisle.
Wow-wee! What about this? One of the most remarkable comebacks this year. The Bombers are back in front by 4 points. Brilliant 13 or 14-minute period from Essendon. Love it, Murray. Another clearance. Hill, wobbly ball. Monfries has marked directly in front.
Well, there's just been one-way traffic from the centre of the ground. It's just been a complete domination. You get the centre clearance numbers for us when you can. Kingy, it has been relatively one-sided. 12-4.
They've been amazing, Jared. This is now the perfect way to go into a finals campaign with momentum like this.
Angus Monfries for a 10-point Bomber lead. There he is. Got the bend. The Bombers irresistible.
Well, you mentioned the dominance in the middle of the ground. It's related just into some great flow-on footy that has allowed the Bombers to kick 7 goals so far in this last quarter to take a 10-point lead. And it's been their forwards that have competed well to allow this to happen.
In a 17-minute period or thereabouts, a 44-point turnaround. Angus Monfries with a goal in front of 34,849 here today. The Bombers with 5 minutes remain, lead it by 10 points. Zaharakis trying to extract in the middle.
Kingy, I think it was in the second quarter, you said it was only a matter of time before the Bombers' dominance in the ruck was going to take effect. I reckon you've been proved correct, but it's taken some time for it to bear fruit.
Well, I think when you look at the numbers in the last quarter, Jobe Watson, we know how important he is. He's had 4 clearances, 2 centre clearances, 8 disposals. As soon as they can tap the ball in his area, they become the complete team. That's a pro and a con for the Bombers going forward.
Leading possession getter on the ground is Jobe Watson. As you say, 10 clearances for him. Westhoff. Port not done with here just yet. Plenty of time for them. The Butcher has been really marking nicely. Carlisle, clever tap to Hardingham. He hoiks one really high. Here comes Chaplin. Over the top, off hands. Did well, Surgeon. Back inside to Pearce.
That's right. Good pressure, Bombers.
Welsh has hurt himself. Wouldn't mind betting it's either a cramp or he's done a hamstring again here. Welsh, he came immediately from the ground. And he is in a bit of trouble. The Bombers in the meantime through Myers. Maybe just a stretch for Welsh, so hopefully just cramped there. He has had a on-off comeback over the last half of this year. 3 minutes 38 remaining. Hill draws Ryder to the ball. Ryder takes the mark, and they're now in the go-slow pattern here, the Bombers. Down to Hurley and Trengove. Trengove got a hand on it. Spills, Chaplin. Paddy Carlisle goes wide. Can you believe that the 7-minute mark of this quarter, the Bombers by 34. Just see Welsh to the corner of the screen there. This one here. Just comes up limping from that contest. One they'll keep an eye on. They won't take any risk with. I'm looking at him on the bench now. He looks okay. Monfries.
Look at the run.
Back inside, Zaharakis pokes it out of a congested situation for a behind. 7 consecutive Bomber goals here. It reminds me of the comeback
Collingwood.
Earlier in the year, Jared. Was it 10 in the last quarter? Or
Collingwood v Adelaide here.
10 consecutive goals. It's got a bit of that about it. It's been magical to watch. Motlop. Been great to watch Port today as well. Heppel. Reimers avoids the Chaplin tackle. Over the head, offline. Used to be the yellow-booted Reimers, now just the stock-standard white-booted Reimers. As well, she's preparing to come back on, so good news for Bomber fans. Time ticking away now, becoming a factor for Port. 2:30 remaining, down by 2 goals. The Bombers have got out of jail big time here, you feel. Motlop. Not to advantage, Howler. Travis Collier, inspirational since being activated Kingy as the Sabi. Certainly gave him on and gave them some run, didn't he?
Well, they needed some run at that stage, Brian, and he delivered. And as Jono said, I think he's played his way into a final, no doubt. Against the Blues, most likely, or it's definitely the Blues, we should say. He will provide some run and some excitement, I think.
Here he is again. Look at the neat little chip through to David Zaharakis.
As much as this game is going to be talked about for the comeback, one of the most disappointing aspects, I think, for Matthew Primus and the group representing Port Adelaide is just how easily they've folded their cards.
Kick slightly offline there. And a behind to Collier.
Kingy, it's been as if they were looking for a reason to stop running.
Absolutely correct. I think they lost their belief. The Bombers kicked a couple of quick goals. It would have been such a statement for them to make, to really draw on some resolve, but they wilted, and you have to question their leaders and whether they were tough enough.
So Port with one last foray forward. They've got an opportunity here. A real good opportunity. Banner goes into the open goal. It dribbles, it's there. So they'll give themselves a mini little chance here with 1:23 on the clock.
Well, this centre clearance becomes critical for Port Adelaide. If they had to snatch this victory, they need to win the ball in here. A clear ball in the middle of the ground. Pump it forward. I'm sure Essendon will throw a few numbers behind the ball to try and stop that from happening.
Great torpedo.
They need to compete. It was a great kick out, and they get the desired result.
Good work, Salafic, then.
That was Port's first score since the 7-minute mark of this final quarter when Schultz goal to put them 34 points up. Port Adelaide, that is. They're now down by 7 points. We've got 1:23 on the clock. They need an immediate focus clearance. Thomas has given them that through Westhoff. Back inside 50 they go. Bombers, McVeigh, Reimers keeps his feet again. Roden just got rid of it to Chaplin. They come at him in numbers, Chaplin. He did well. Owen Davey with a ripper tackle from behind. No advantage. The Bombers can hold the ball from here with under a minute. Look at the runner come off the bench just in front of us here and says to the Bombers,
burn the clock.
Clock.
Well, they've done a pretty good job getting man-on-man. Port Adelaide forcing Owen Davey to go wide. He doesn't care.
Hill protected the drop zone of the ball beautifully, and that'll just about be it for the Bombers. Down to the last half a minute. Back inside to Reimers. Needs to go, Jonas did. Centre half back, they've got to stop the clock with a goal here as quickly as they can. Did well, Carlisle. Almost breaking through Cassisi. What a quarter. What a game of football we've seen here today. The Bombers look gone, buried, dead. And somehow they've found something here. And a free kick to the Bombers. And Matty Primus says, that'll do me. We can't get home from here now. And Hill, big comeback from the Bombers, has excited the fans here. They've won. Last quarter, they kicked 7 consecutive goals, and the Bombers have won it by 7 points. Joe Watson can claim a lot of that effort in the last quarter. He was magical. The song belts out here. Port Adelaide 17-11, 113 to the Bombers 17-18, 120. A big win, Jackson. Trengove would be disappointed. Port shouldn't be with the effort. They were great. We're going to go out to David King. He has Michael Hurley out there with him. Take it away, Kingy.
Well, mate, that was an amazing finish there. Powerful finish by the boys.
Yeah, well, down there this week, I'm really playing some poor footy, so it was good to get over the line.
What about your fly there on the wing? You come down pretty hard. You were certainly hurt that last 15 minutes, but you refused to come from the ground.
Yeah, it was pretty silly. I flew and got nowhere near it, but back's a bit sore, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Ready for a finals campaign? I think the Bombers now absolutely ripe with the list you've got and the form you've got.
Yeah, I think we're still developing, and it's obviously fantastic to play finals footy because that's where you want to be, but I think we get a few back and hopefully we can have a crack at it.
Heard his main message today, all with a vision for the finals, or just still tinkering with how you play?
No, we're pretty settled. We've got a massive focus on the defensive side of our game and the contested ball, so if we keep improving on that, you never know what might happen.
Well done. Congratulations on a great game.
Michael Hurley down there with David King. That man, Travis Collier, has come on and given them some real zip.
Somebody had to, and that was the disappointing thing for 3 and a bit quarters. It was almost as if there was an acceptance of where they were at. I reckon they were fighting against themselves for the majority of the day, Jono, as well as Port Adelaide. But when they got a little bit of dominance out of centre clearances, it unfolded in 2 ways. Port Adelaide, well, they cashed in their chips too easily for mine, and the Bombers, they ran riot.
Great comeback, great football. Bomber fans get excited. Your mob were great in this last quarter. 17-18, 120, defeating Port Adelaide 17-11, 113.